Welcome to my home in Lake Forest, California. I'm fortunate enough to live on the lake. You see my little 16-foot electric boat in front of you. The lake is freshwater. Deepest depth is about 18 feet, and I use it for oceanographic testing. And what I'd like to do today is to show you the various parts for the shark fin. So let's go back on the deck where I've got it set up, and we'll discuss everything that's on here and how the shark fin can be effectively built. The first thing is shipping. It will be shipped out in this priority box, and the box will contain number one, a plexiglass fin. You could remove the tape, paint it, but it is clear. Two, stainless hose clamps that attach it to the pipe. A motor assembly with the appropriate red and black 12-volt wires that go into a small 4-channel microcontroller. The controller is powered by a lithium battery pack that you see in front. Red to red, black to black, so the color coding is very easy. I mentioned this is a 4-channel unit, and we have the motor set up on channel A and channel B, but channel C and channel D are available for other use. The new controller I developed allows us to actually control 2 channels at one time. So if we have the motor on A, let's see, let me put my motors onto the side where you can see them. So as I press button A, motor A goes. If I press button B, motor B goes. And if I press both of them together, this is hard to do because I'm filming the camera at the same time. There we have both of them going. So again, you can make it go into a straight line by pressing A and B. That leaves C and D available, and what I provided for you to check out these channels is 2 blue LEDs. So the blue LEDs can be plugged in these channels, and then of course when you hit C and D, the appropriate blue lights will come on indicating that the channels are operating. Well, this gives you an overview of the motor system. Now let's go back into the design of the fin system itself. We'll move over to the existing shark fin. You can take the pattern after the pictures that I sent you or ad lib. If you look on the side of it, you can see there's actually 3 1-inch or 1.5-inch, whatever you prefer, layers of styrofoam, which is insulating styrofoam, purchased very inexpensively at the local supply store. There is a plate that is attached and glued on the inside. The plate allows you to put on 2 stainless hose clamps. Now remember, in the kit I have provided both the 2 hose clamps as well as the side plate, which is glued on. So the idea behind it is you take a standard 2-inch diameter PVC pipe. Now this is 24 inches long. You have to convert to centimeters. The pipe then slides up through the stainless, fits inside the housing to give you security, and let's see, let me push it in here, and that should be the finished configuration. Now the motors then would attach before that onto the bottom, but let's talk about the construction of the fin. Once you laminate the 3 layers together, you need to be very careful with the glue that you use, because most glues and contact cement will erode away or eat the styrofoam. The glues that I use are actually epoxy. This is one of the few that I found that do not hurt the styrofoam. So I bond them together with that, bond the plate on the inside, and then shape it. Now this stuff is very, very fragile. So what I do is I'll often put a layer of fiberglass tape to protect the edge. And then what I'll do is I'll take and use bathtub caulking and then smear a light coat onto the surface and let it dry for 48 hours. Now the paint, again, is a real problem. You cannot use ordinary enamels or latex paints because they will eat away at the styrofoam. The only paint I found out that you can use, and you can experiment what's in Budapest, but in the United States we have a paint called Krylon H2O latex. The latex means it's a water-based spray paint. Now this comes in a number of different colors. I use a combination of the gray that you see here, the black and the white, to add some tones and coloration to the fins, depending on what type of shark you're going to represent. So that's pretty much for the design and shaping of the shark fin. Now let's next go into the motor assembly itself. The dual underwater motor assembly, which with its 3-bladed props is shown here. And you'll notice that the wires come out of the sealed unit into an adapter that's included. Now you want to make very sure that this is securely set in here. Maybe you want to use some silicone to make sure that's completely waterproof. As the wires come up here, they'll obviously be threaded through the pipe. Again, make sure that there's an appropriate amount of silicone on the inside to bond to the bottom of the pipe. The wires then will come up to the top of the pipe, and then you'll insert the controller and the battery pack in from the top. Now notice that the diameter, they fit in very nicely into the top of it. And the black wire sticking out is the antenna. So I generally just leave this right on the top. You'll have no problem with that at all. Now this whole unit, if sealed properly, is completely waterproof. The water level is up here, so you can keep this open because you'll never have any water this side up. The unit itself has a tremendous amount of flotation, and to counterbalance that at the bottom you need to add a weight. So if you notice on the bottom there is a standard 1/4-20 stainless screw, and so what you can do is to put various types of weights on. Now this one is for demo only, it's a 1-pound weight, but I would recommend a 5 or a 6-pound weight depending on the sea state, the stability you want, the design of the fin, etc. So if you tap a 1/4-20 standard thread in there, you can simply screw this thing on the bottom, making for easy access to the weight on and off. So this gives you a wide latitude of flexibility for either design of a shark fin or any other type of fin that you may want. The motor and electronic system does come with a lithium battery. The lithium battery then has a special charge plug so it can balance charge them. And since you desired to have this option, I'm going to include a brand new lithium charger. Now you notice that there's a mating plug on the bottom, so it fits into the 3-prong, not the 2-prong unit. The lights are all red when you turn it in, they turn green when it's charged. This will take either 110 or 220. For 220 you just need an adapter connected with it. So the battery would actually be plugged right inside like this to mate, plugged into the wall, and then you can charge the unit. I actually bought 2 sets because I was interested. Your sets in terms of the battery and the charger will be of course in the brand new box. I wanted to make sure this works, so I tested out the set for myself. Now one of the options that we had talked about is the blood injection system, and I'll give you a rough idea of how that works. The blood is actually some type of a red food dye or red food coloring, if you want red blood. And I've taken 1 drop, only 1 drop of it, and put it into a glass of water. Now in order to make the blood system work, I have a special 12-volt pump. So if you want this, I buy these for about $12 a piece. They're the least expensive 12-volt high-capacity pumps that I've found. Now I have the connector already built onto the end, and this goes into either channel C or channel D, again controlled by my remote control. So when I hit switch D, you hear the pump going on. Now the beauty about it, this is a stainless pump, and so it should be very reliable in the ocean. So depending on your system, you'll have a container with some type of a color fluid in, and of course I'm doing this one-handed because it's a little bit tricky, and then take the pump in there, and this then would be the discharge tube, which is included. It's just a 1/4-inch Tygon tube. So I'll put that in here, and I don't want to get this stuff all over the place, so kind of messing up here a little bit. Okay, there it is. So I can't move my camera back enough, but hopefully you can see I'll be pressing switch D. Whoa, shit.